Hi, and welcome to Petty's Garage. I'm Sparky. Today we're going to be installing a strut brace for a Demon and Redeye. The tools you're going to need are 3/8 drive torque wrench, 3/8 drive ratchet, 10mm socket, 13mm socket. I'm using the vice grips to seal off the hoses on the reservoir, a pair of pliers to remove the clamps, and a set of vacuum caps just to keep the antifreeze inside the reservoir while we're working. You can get them at any parts store, hardware store, or any automotive parts store. All right, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to use my vice grips. I've got electrical tape on the tips of them to protect the hose from the teeth. We're going to use these to seal off the hoses to keep antifreeze from running out. I'm going to use my 10mm socket to remove the bolts that holds it to the bracket. I'm going to lift the reservoir off the bracket. Release my hose clamp and immediately tilt my reservoir up and cap off with my vacuum cap. Then I'm going to remove my rear clamp. Cap off the reservoir and set it to the side. Now I'm going to use my 13mm socket to remove the nuts off of the strut. Now we're going to set the bar in place. But leave it sitting up loose for the time being until we can get the tank installed. All right, so once your hose is slipped all the way up onto the barb of your reservoir, you're going to install your clamp and just leave it sitting off to the side. Now you're going to go ahead and remove your vice grips on your back hose. Sit your bar in place and slide the reservoir around to where the hose is underneath the strut brace. And you're going to use your original 13mm bolts To secure it, there's only 2 bolt holes in the reservoir, so you have to install the front inside bolt on the passenger side first and torque it down. All right, these bolts are going to be torqued to 20 foot-pounds. Now you can place your reservoir over the remaining 2 studs and install your front hose. Now secure it down. And you can remove your front clamp. We're going to install the holding hardware back on the driver's side. And all the hardware gets torqued down to 20 foot-pounds. All right, now we're going to use the existing antifreeze in the reservoir to top off the new reservoir. All right, so now, since we had the reservoir off and the fluid was low, there's a possibility that air got mixed into the system. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your hose clamps and clamp off this upper line right here to where all of your fluid transfer goes through your reservoir. That'll allow all the air to come back out. Now we're going to start the car. At this point right here, you're going to be looking inside the reservoir. You should see some bubbles. Once the bubbles stop, you should be in pretty good shape, but you want to let it run for at least 30 seconds to a minute. Make sure all the air gets out of the system. Should have a really good circulation of antifreeze in your tank. All right, at this point, to finish up, the only thing you want to check and make sure, you want to still have about a 1/2 inch gap between your lower rim of your reservoir and your fluid level. And then you're going to use your original radiator cap. Close off the system and remove your clamp. And there you have it.